Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Alright, people. So Tony Bellew was on Talksport there the other day. Actually, some people messaged me on Twitter and asked my opinion on this because I didn't talk about it in midweek report. And the reason I didn't is because I didn't actually know about it, because I was kind of just not in a rush to get through midweek report, but I had a lot going on, so I was kind of just reading the articles that really I needed to read, if you know what I mean, as quick as I could. So I didn't notice this one. But Tony Bellew essentially is accusing Tyson Fury of ducking Oleksandr Usyk not once but twice. So I'm gonna get the quote that Tony Bellew said here, and then look. Before anyone starts Fury type into their keyboard, gee, he's not ducking Usyk. Yeah, I believe he's not ducking Usyk. I know he's not ducking Usyk. This is Tony Bellew. He's as biased as it's just crazy. But I'll read what he said here, and then we'll start to pick apart what he's saying. So, I don't want to say he doesn't fancy it against Oleksandr Usyk, but let's be honest. It's not an easy opponent. It's not an easy proposition, I should say. Former Cruiserweight champion Bellew said. He had two opportunities now to face Usyk and knocked them both back. That's not my opinion. That's fact. For someone who is a so-called middleweight, I don't see what the problem is. You're a middleweight. That's all I hear. Why not just beat up the middleweight? I would, if I were you. And then you've got all the belts. You've achieved everything in boxing. You've cleaned out the division. You've cleaned out your error and can ride off into the sunset. He went on to say, when you get in the ring with Oleksandr Usyk, you have so many different difficult tasks in front of you. Bellew said his footwork and speed and movement. You know he's got a bit of pop in his gloves these days because he's up a weight and he's not getting down to cruiserweight, etc. There are just so many things to take into account. And a guy like Fury, he's like, I want to fight a guy who I know exactly what he'll do. For some reason, unbeknownst to me, this middleweight, he doesn't want to face on 3 months' notice. So, basically, Tony Bellew is accusing Tyson Fury of ducking Oleksandr Usyk earlier in the year and now going into December. Well, the one earlier in the year was where Fury said he wanted, I believe it was an interim fight, because at the time, I think there was issues. Remember the Dillian Whyte situation that was going on, where it was kind of up in the air. There was a deadline for Dillian Whyte to sign it, and we didn't really know what was going on there. Usyk was trying to pursue undisputed. Fury was talking about having an interim fight, and eventually it all kind of came to a head, and he ended up fighting Dillian Whyte. We know that, right? So there was that. Now, I don't really understand the interim fight, because he wasn't that long removed from Wilder, and he would have actually had the shorter period of inactivity rather than Oleksandr Usyk, but I don't understand that. But this one right here, the December one, I mean, Fury made a video post Oleksandr Usyk Joshua saying they're both crap and that he's coming back. I think he said that after the video, but never once did he say, like, yeah, Oleksandr, let's get this fight made in December. I'm ready to go. You're ready to go. Let's get it made. I didn't hear that. Usyk mentioned Tyson Fury post-fight. He also mentioned that was the only fight he was interested in, but he also maintained the fact that, look, he won't be ready until early next year. You know, he's got niggles, he's tired, he's away from his family. Understandable, of course. So it won't be till next year. So where is the ducking? Where exactly is the ducking? I'm not seeing Tyson Fury duck Oleksandr Usyk. Do I think that he's probably going to fight Anthony Joshua now anyway, but I really did kind of, when AJ was getting in the build to fight Usyk, I was thinking, what Tyson Fury? Is he going to retire? What's he going to do? But then after the fight, he was like, yeah, no, I'm staying. I'm going to fight Usyk. So I have no doubt that we'll see Undisputed just next year. But why in God's name are you making it out like Fury's ducking? He's clearly not. Both these guys are going to get it on. That's Tony Bellew in a nutshell. You know, as a fighter, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I've even done a career review on Bellew. I actually quite like Bellew as a fighter. I like watching him. I always watched his fights. Some of them were stinkers, like against Edison Miranda. They were stinkers, and I think against Chilemba as well, they were real stinkers. But that was at light heavyweight, to be fair, and he was badly drained. But when he went to cruiserweight, he became a lot more exciting. I enjoyed his fights a lot more. And yeah, I never had an issue as a fighter, but as a person, as a human being, oh my God, what a terrible human being, honestly. Honestly. And I find it strange I find it bizarre how he's so biased towards AJ, but he's not in AJ's inner circle. Does that make sense? It's a really weird one for me, because if you say the roles were, say it was Baby Thing and Dylan White, you know, Baby Thing was being interviewed, Dylan White may potentially have a fight come up with Usyk. If he was making bizarre claims like, oh, Fury's ducking White for this reason, that reason, and this, I'd understand it. Like, I wouldn't give him a pass on it. I'd be saying, well, he didn't. But I'd be saying, you can understand why he's saying it, if you get me. You could say, well, that's Baby Thing, it's Dylan White, you can understand it. I find this one a bit strange, but I know these two are close. If it was Joseph Parker saying, oh, Oleksandr Usyk is ducking Tyson Fury, again, I'd understand it a bit more, because they're in each other's inner circle. They're best buds. They're very close. I'd understand that. But when Bellew is getting up on AJ's you-know-what, and he's criticising AJ's opponents, as in, like, you know, Fury saying, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, it's like, you and AJ, like, AJ never, like, never mentions you. You never see each other together or anything like that. You're literally, like, just kind of he keeps you at arm's length almost. So why are you being so biased? I just don't get it. It just makes no sense to me. Why are you being so biased if the guy, like, if someone was like that with me, where it was like, I barely ever see this guy, and when I do see him, he's kind of like, hey, I'd just be like, oh yeah, I know that guy, yeah, he's alright, he's whatever. I wouldn't be going around saying, oh, he's amazing, and remember when AJ lost to Usyk, he was nearly crying. He was like, I'm so devastated, I can't believe it, I'm devastated. I was like, dude, it ain't that deep. Seriously, it's not that deep, man. So, it's a strange one. And, yeah, look, I tend not to give him too much time these days in terms of talking about it on videos, but when I see stuff like that, and it's like, it's so easy to pick the holes in that, and obviously Fury is not ducking Oleksandr Usyk. He's not. Oleksandr Usyk wouldn't be ready for December. So Fury called out Anthony Joshua. I mean, in a way, you could say it's a stay busy fight. It's an interim fight. I mean, you could have picked, some people would say it is an easy interim fight. And I think with AJ now, he's definitely getting them at a time where AJ's more vulnerable. But, I mean, a Caballel, even an Oliver-Lean rematch, I think that but they're definitely less risky than AJ. I'd be more confident, like, I'm confident picking Fury to beat AJ, but I'd be more confident beating a Caballel or a Wallin again, something like that. And as well as that, it would give Fury a more similar style. Obviously, it's not exactly the same as Usyk fighting a Caballel or fighting a Wallin again, but southpaw, I don't think Caballel's a southpaw, that would be fair, but a mover, a guy who throws a lot of volume. AJ, it's completely different. You're fighting a 6'6", 245 pound kind of boxer puncher, where Usyk is a 220 pound mover, southpaw. So it's very different contrasting styles, if you get me. So I don't see, when you look at it like that, you're just thinking, how does that set you up for Usyk? You know, if you look at when fighters have been waiting for an opponent, like example would be when Povetkin, it never happened, but when he was meant to fight Wilder, the fight before he was meant to fight Wilder, he fought Mariusz Wach. Now, Mariusz Wach stylistically is not like Deontay Wilder. He's not as awkward, but similar dimensions. Obviously, he's a bit bigger, but you know what I mean? Getting used to punching up, same height. You'd want someone who has the dimensions of the opponent. And Fury's not getting that with AJ, but you know. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. It's my thoughts on it. As I said, Tony Bellew, look, is what it is. Don't understand why he gets so much airtime. AO. I mean, he's literally got nothing to offer, you know. I mean, on the zone, the team is what it is, you know. Don't mind Laura Woods too much, not the worst. Ade is brilliant. I think he does a fantastic job, and big up to him on The Gloves Are Off. Well, it was I'm just so used to it being called The Gloves Are Off with the Eubank Ben one that for all that, I'm probably going to call it Gloves Are Off. He's done a very good job there. So he's brilliant. Andy Lee, you know, if they have Barry Jones on more, I love Barry Jones. One of my favourite pundits / commentators. I think Barry Jones does an excellent job. But I think that Barry Jones, when they had him on Sky, he made the Sky team work harder, if you get me, because he done briefly last year for a time he was on Sky, very briefly. I think it was just after Hearn and DAZN, or Hearn split with Sky. And you could tell that the actual, like, Adam Smith and Matthew Macklin, who were on with him, were like, he knows a lot more, and he talks more about what's going on in the ring, as opposed to, you know, this, that, and this, that. So they actually stepped up their game a little bit, I found. So Barry Jones, I have a lot of time for. I'd like to see him on the zone. Carl Frampton too. I quite like Carl Frampton. I think he's a very good pundit. So they're just like little things that I'm chucking out there. But yeah, Bellew being biased, to be expected. And look, Tyson Fury, criticised him when he's needed to, but he ain't ducking Oleksandr Usyk. That, I'm convinced we're going to get that fight. I'm just worried. The only worry I have is that Fury takes a Joshua fight and ends up losing, and then ends up having to rematch him, and then we're back to drawing out the undisputed again, which I don't really want. But we'll wait and see. Watch the space. For now, lads and lads, I'll leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. For now, people, I'll talk to you. Peace.